Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD Podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Oh, hello, docs. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD Podcast. This is going to be a mind-blowing episode. We are going to be looking at the richest place on earth. I have no idea what you're thinking about this episode, but we'll get into it in a little bit. So before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Beckford, who left a review for the EntreMD Podcast, specifically the episode, Are You a Doctor That Shoplifts? Really good episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, you want to. She says, okay, so I am done shoplifting on my dreams. I loved this episode. As a matter of fact, I love all of the episodes. Thank you, Dr. Beckford. Your first podcast is what made me decide I need to do something. This episode epitomizes what I went through. I need to invest in myself and do something different. Keep up the great work. By the way, I might be sharing that mailbox address, P.O. Box, outside my comfort zone, which is what, I make jokes about that all the time, that my permanent address is P.O. Box outside my comfort zone. So thank you, Dr. Beckford, so much for this glowing, amazing review. Thank you so much for being a listener and for sharing your insight and for reviewing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for being an amazing student at the EntreMD Business School. All right, so today we are going to be looking at the richest place on earth. And when I thought about this, when I think about beautiful places on earth, I'm a water girl, right? So I think beautiful places like Turks and Caicos, and that has the beautiful turquoise waters. And I need to go there after the pandemic. But, that's me because I like the water. But let's look statistically, where are the richest places on earth? All right. So I pulled up the data and you'll find this so interesting. The number of people whose net worth is above $5 million, right? There is a place that has 120,000 of these people. 120,000, actually 120,605 people whose net worth is above $5 million. It has 92 billionaires, 92, okay? The net worth of this place is 424 billion, okay? So we're talking about one place where the number of people whose net worth is above 5 million is 120,605. It has 92 billionaires, and the net worth is 424 billion with a B. And that place is New York City, the richest place, New York City. But even with all that wealth, it really isn't the richest place on earth. The richest place on earth is the grave, is the grave. And the reason why is people go there with all kinds of treasures. We're talking about businesses that were never started, businesses that never reached their full potential, talks that were never given, books that were never written, songs that were never sung, movements that were never started. Rich as New York City is, it is not the richest place on earth. The richest place is the grave. So, a question to live by is, when I die, would the grave get richer or would it have nothing added to it? This is not a question that you want to start asking later. This is a question you want to start asking yourself now. Like, when I die, will the grave get richer? Would its net worth increase because I died? The consciousness of this is what would make the fear of failure not stop you. Because you've heard me say this on the podcast where I'm like, when I die, I want to die empty. I want to die having done all I could do, become everything I could become. So I say yes to a lot of stuff. Now, when I say that, I don't mean get all bent out of shape and say yes to every opportunity. No, I'm clear on a portion of my path and I say yes to everything that will get me there. There are things that I do. I'm afraid doing them. I'm afraid starting them. I'm afraid scaling them. I'm afraid, but I don't let it stop me. I have a bigger fear of making the grave even richer. Okay? So you are loaded with potential. You are loaded with ideas. You are loaded with things you can do that will help a lot of people. You are literally a world changer. Literally, you are. And I want you to make the commitment today and go like, you know what? I'm not going to live forever. I don't want to have regrets. I want to do what I need to do. Yes, I'm like, I don't think I have everything it takes, but I have enough to start. I'm not connected to everybody I need to be connected to, but I know enough people to start. I don't have all the money I need for it, but I have enough to start. This is the time to make that commitment. I'm going to die empty. I'm going to do what I need to do. Okay. So I want to share with you. Now, we're talking from a business standpoint, right? So 3 things you should start doing today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not right before I retire, not right now. 3 things you're going to start doing today. The first thing you're going to start doing today is you're going to say yes to your business idea, or you're going to say yes to scaling your business. Say yes. You've been thinking about starting a business, right? You've been thinking about scaling your business. How long have you been thinking about it for, though? Have you had that business idea for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, since you were in high school? How long have you had it for? Today is the day to say yes and pull the trigger. Today is the day. Today is the day. You don't know what that business will do. You don't know the number of people it will help. You don't know the people who are struggling, waiting for you to say yes. Your business, sometimes we get all bent out of shape because Hollywood has taught us that business people are bad and making money is bad. And if you're a good business person, it means you're also greedy and you hurt everybody in the process to become a great business. But it simply isn't true. A business is designed to solve a problem. Money is merely the thank you notes, like thank you for solving this problem. Think of all the people on the other side of your yes and say yes today. Pull the trigger today. Start today. Say yes today. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a time where you be completely rid of failure before you can start. There will never be a time where you have the entire blueprint of how everything will play out. There will never be a perfect time. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Let it be that the grave at the end of the day goes like, oh man, not a single thing. She came here, he came here after you've lived a long, full life and gave me nothing. Gave me nothing. So say yes to your business idea today. You might go like, I don't know how. Do you know? 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, actually, I said, I want to help 80,000 doctors build profitable businesses. I didn't know how. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. People are like, how did you come up with 80,000? Well, at the time, when I looked at the data, there were 800,000 actively practicing doctors in the United States. And I was like, I want 10% of them. So that's how that number came about. But anyway, I'm like, I want to help 80,000 doctors. That's what I want to do. And I started off with one-on-one coaching, and that's all I knew. And then I added on a group program, and that's all I knew. And then I did events, and that's all I knew. Added that to it. And then I started doing a podcast, and that's what I knew at the time. And then launched the EntreMD Business School. And that the bottom line is start. Do I know I'm going to touch 80,000 doctors? Yes. Do I have the entire blueprint? No. Do I have enough to make one more step? Yes. So don't worry if you don't have everything, but take the next step. Take the next step. And while we're at it, since you're listening and this is helping, help me. Help me spread the word because I'm trying to reach 80,000 doctors. Take this podcast episode, share it with a friend, share it with a group of friends, share it with a doctor who has a large sphere of influence and say, hey, your audience would love this. Check out this podcast. Okay. Well, that's my goal. And I want you to say yes today. Okay. Number 2, say yes to personal development. The you are now is getting you the results you can get now. The only way to get bigger results is for you to become a different version of yourself. That doesn't mean you change from who you are. It means you become a better version of yourself. So invest in personal development. It's not something that would be nice if you do. It's something you have to do if you will not make the grave richer. All right. So what that means is say yes to listening to podcasts. Say yes to reading books. Say yes to being in the right rooms. Your environment controls a lot. If you're in a room with physician entrepreneurs, they will rub off on you. Put yourself in the right rooms. There are people who will tell you, oh, doctors are not good at stuff like that and blah, blah, blah. And, business is bad. You can't be in those rooms if that's what you're trying to do. Okay. So invest. So you put yourself in positions where you can be in those kind of rooms. Don't be afraid to pay for coaching. Don't be afraid to pay for courses. The EntreMD Business School is designed for you. Don't be afraid to invest in it. The you are now can only give you the results you're getting now. If you're going to become a person who has different kinds of results, you're going to need to become a better version of yourself. Okay, a better version of yourself. And the prize for that is saying yes to personal development. Okay, I spend tens of thousands of dollars every year investing in myself, investing in my personal development for 2 reasons. One is I want to reach the 80,000 doctors. I want to help. I want to help them. But 2 is the greatest service I can do for anyone who follows my content, who follows me, who follows my methods, who's part of the EntreMD Business School, who listens to this podcast. The best thing I can do is keep pushing the boundaries, pushing and becoming better, because the better I become, the more I can help you. The better I become, the more I can help you. There are courses I've literally taken because I'm like, I have clients this would help. And I need to be able to empower them with this. Say yes to personal development. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3. Now, this one is so simple, not easy, but so simple that I'm going to have you write it down. I'm going to have you put it on your mirror because it's so easy to miss, but it's so powerful, so powerful. And it's this: say yes to focused, consistent action. Say yes to focused, consistent action. Be a person who is a doer. Talk less, do more. I hear people talk about their dreams and their vision and what they'll do and the business they'll build and all their plans and all this stuff, but they've done nothing. And year after year, they have zero result to show for it. Okay? Even when you learn It is a disservice to just sit and learn like you're in a classroom. You're a doctor. You know how we learned. You go to the classroom, they teach you how to do a spinal tap. They take you into the unit, and they're like, here's a child, watch us do a spinal tap. And then once you're there, you're done watching, they're like, now it's your turn, and we will watch you do your spinal tap. And after you do that one under observation, they're like, have a great life and continue to do spinal taps. It's all action, action, action. They never just let us get information. So don't take just information. Be a person who takes action. Now, there are two things about your action. One is that it must be focused. So one of the things we do in the EntreMD Business School is people are like, I have 5 ideas. I'm like, great, we will work on one. I have 10 ideas. We will work on one. I was thinking of this other thing. Let's work on one. Why? Think about you in med school. There's so many things you could have done, but you chose one thing and you chased it down for a whole decade. Can you chase down your business for a year, 2 years, 3 years? Can you focus on one thing? Can you focus on one thing? I've had people tell me, oh, but I want to do these 3 businesses. I'm like, you can, but when people have triplets, they're very clear they have to do 3 times the work. You can't do the work that somebody else starting one business is doing. And it's a lot of work, right? So focus. Everything should be taking you towards one goal. Be clear on what your goal is, and all your actions, all your effort, everything you're doing should be pushing you in the direction of that one goal. If you will do that, you'll experience exponential growth. It will all snowball. You'll go like, how did I become this person? How did I get here? Focused action. That's number one, focus. And if you're a good entrepreneur, it means every morning when you wake up, you have a new business idea. But one of the things that will make you very successful is that you journal it. You don't start 5 businesses at the same time. You journal it. Like, oh, that's great. I'll put it down. We'll see where it fits. Right. And then you chase down your one goal. So one is that it has to be focused. The second has to be consistent, which means you do it on a schedule and all the time. Imagine if you could never tell if this Monday will be the Monday where there'll be a new episode of the EntreMD podcast. Imagine if it was left to chance. It depends on my mood. It depends on how I'm feeling. It depends if I felt inspired or motivated to do it. No, every single Monday for the last 8 months, you've had an episode of the EntreMD podcast. That is called consistency. Consistency. The things that make business succeed are sometimes boring, right? Sometimes boring. Is that consistency to do what you should every time you should do it, whether you don't feel like it or not? Consistency. So take action consistently, and let your actions be focused. Okay. If you will say yes to these 3 things, yes to my business idea or scaling my business, yes to personal development, yes to focus, consistent action, you're putting yourself in a position to not make the grave any richer when you're done. Okay? You're putting yourself in a position where you can die empty. Like, I did it. I did everything I was supposed to do. Did it. Done. All right? And imagine how cool that would be. Imagine you at 90 or whatever your year is, right? Maybe it's 80, maybe it's 90, maybe it's 100, maybe you want to live to 120. I don't know. And you can smile going like, I did what I set out to do. And I'll even throw this in here, and my family worked, and my health worked, and I was a blessing to my generation, and I started a movement. And I mean, like, imagine that. It's all tied to saying yes to your business, yes to personal development, and yes to focused, consistent action. Okay? So all I want you to do today is to say yes to these 3 things and hit the ground running. Hit the ground running. All right? Now, I would like to invite you to check out the EntreMD Business School, because this is all we do. The things you hear about on this podcast that have helped you think differently, have helped you take strides in your business, that have changed things. We do deeper dives, and we really work on all this stuff so that we can build businesses that give us freedom. We're doctors. We're just one skill away from the life of our dreams. So thank you so much for listening. I want you to say yes to these 3 things. That's what I want you to do for today. And I'll see you on the very next episode of the EntreMD Podcast. If you love this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, share, and review it on iTunes. As you go about your week, remember, you're not just an MD, you're an EntreMD. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode. Until next time.